Before I have a guest on, I always ask if they're willing to drink bourbon. And I asked you, what did you answer me? Do you remember?
I probably said, hell yes.
You're like, oh, hell yeah.
I was a mean girl. And
Which of the mean girls were you?
oh, Regina. People think that was written after me, actually. I called my family and made the announcement, and it sounded like this. Hi, Mom. I'm having a baby, and now I'm going bowling with my friends. Bye. And I hung up.
You're like making me feel like a lazy piece of shit.
No way. No way. No, there's crazy, and then there's normal.
Okay. Oh, yeah. You stuck a silver star on my shirt, and I almost backed out, being totally honest.
I did not know that.
He was like, you ever see Billy Madison? O'Doyle rules.
Yes.
He was O'Doyle, okay? No offense if he sees this.
We love you. I'm an alien, so I don't eat or drink water, but other people do. It's not simple to say, but most days I don't recognize me.
Or you feel like
Can you see how much smaller my arm is? I just want.
I can edit. I can add some girth
Can
to
you?
the arms
Can
in,
you do that?
in post.
Okay. Well, I guess we should go back 1 second and discuss the big topic, which I kind of dropped on you in our pre-interview, which is I'm a sociopath.
Welcome to the Barbells and Bourbon podcast. I'm your big, bald, bearded, Barbie wearing, barbell lifting, bourbon drinking son of a bitch, Shaun. And joining me today is the lovely Victoria Klaus.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Welcome to our house. How far did you travel to get here today?
Just 45 minutes.
So you're tied for number one for furthest traveled.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
I'll put a leaderboard right here. You'll be at the top with Kevin. Kevin came from Scottdale.
Wow.
So he's south, you're north. After that long ride, you must be thirsty.
Oh, yeah.
First question, though, and I already know your answer. Before I have a guest on, I always ask if they're willing to drink bourbon. And I asked you, what did you answer me? Do you remember?
I probably said, hell yes.
You're like, oh, hell yeah. I was like, all right, it's on. So I appreciate your enthusiasm. Again, bourbon drinking is not a requirement to be on this, but it is a passion of mine. I like to share my passion with my guest, and it helps to loosen the discussion a little bit. So I'm glad that you're willing. Is there anything here that you see that you would like to have that you either had before, something new that looks interesting to you? This is your choice.
Oh, wow. Okay. Pressure.
There's some above me, behind me.
I know there's so many.
There's a lot.
Okay. Let's go with 2XO.
Ooh, that one's unopened.
Okay.
I've never
That's what
had
I
it.
noticed. Yes.
I've never had it. Let's see if I can not break something here.
Okay.
Good choice. So I actually got this in Orlando. I cannot find it here.
Okay.
So when I was in Orlando, it was a week or two ago for Cam's soccer tournament, I went to the liquor store and saw this. And I was like, oh my God. Haven't seen it yet. Had to get it. And I brought 3 other bottles home with me.
Wow.
My suitcase weighed 48.5 pounds.
Just right over.
Just made it.
Oh, it was under.
It was under 50. 50 is like the cutoff.
Okay.
So
I must have noticed like the Florida atmosphere of the bourbon.
yeah.
You know, because I miss Florida. So
Yeah. Yeah. So there's so many different bottles you can get there and in different states because Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania can be a hard state to buy good bourbons in. So
absolutely.
cheers.
Cheers,
Thanks
my
for coming.
friend. Thank you for having me. Oh, that is excellent.
Very sweet.
Very sweet. Perfect for me.
You're sweet enough, Tori.
Yeah, thank you. Pink theme, sugar theme. I love it. Thank you.
Barbie.
I love the shirt. It made my day.
I figured it would kind of like loosen things up a little bit, right?
I have a minor Barbie obsession.
Yes.
Just a little one.
It was nominated for what, 11 Grammys, I think?
Yes.
Who would have thought?
I saw it 7 times in
Oh.
theaters.
So this is a very appropriate shirt for today.
Yes. Yes.
So I guessed, actually, Maria bought this for me.
She knew.
I was going to wear it yesterday for when I filmed Chris's episode, but I knew he was going to be talking about some really serious stuff. And then I kind of like, I don't want to make too much light of the conversation. So, but I'm like, wait a minute, Tori.
Yes.
Let's wear it for Tori.
Miss Barbie.
Yeah. So our relationship is interesting, being that we're both friends and we've had a business relationship, which we can get into later. But I think that's brought some complications at times, separating friendship from being a professional. Would you agree?
I completely agree.
And not that it's a bad thing, but you have to sort of like refocus friendship, business. Don't take offense one way or the other. Like turn this on, and just move on, whatever. But I know there's a ton about you that I don't know. We've known each other for a long time. And when I'm thinking about the guests I want to bring on here, and when I started the podcast, you were actually one of the first guests that I'm like, I really want to have Tori on here because I want to get to know more about you because I know there's a ton. You run deep. You're a complicated, complex individual in a good way. So I wanted to learn more about you. And I also wanted to give the opportunity to talk about your life because I know there's been a lot that went into your life from your childhood to your businesses to whatever. And this is going to be your chance to just kind of open up and allow the audience to get to know you better too.
I love a challenge.
I'm glad you're up for it.
Yes.
I'll try not to challenge you too much.
Okay.
So,
Well,
but
if you do, let's do it.
let's go all in.
This is the time.
So take me back to where you're comfortable starting in your childhood, like things that you remember about it.
Okay.
Let's just go
Okay.
back.
So 2 years old would be the first memory because I read it to. I read books.
Okay.
And I performed it to fluently and was able to fully tap dance. And it was not a childhood at all. So when you ask me about childhood, it makes me laugh because there wasn't one.
Okay.
I've pretty much been an adult since I walked out of my mother. That was it.
Walked out of your mother.
Like I walked out and then there
Yeah.
was an adult. And my parents actually went to the pediatrician and said, what's going on? She's reading and she's an adult.
So you were a talented individual from a very early age.
And opinionated. I changed my outfit 4 and 5 times a day. I had to have dresses on. I would not wear normal clothing. I would wear high heels, like little ones that were sparkly, and I wouldn't take them off.
You were a high maintenance child, girl.
At 2. And that's my first memory. That's why I started there. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So this has been since birth.
All right. So, I mean, were you ever into sports as a child or were you just girly girl the whole way?
Girly girl the whole way.
Yeah.
I tried to play basketball and they called me monkey girl because I didn't follow the rules. I did whatever I wanted and they played me. I was a number 2 position and I was very good, but I wouldn't follow the referee's rules at all. And I would jump around and wave my hands and attack people.
So you were like dancing on the court, just trying to like put on a performance instead
Yes.
of play the sport.
Entertainment value. Yeah.
I would have paid to see it.
Thank you.
Were you a decent student? Like, did you try hard in school? Like, what was that like?
So I was rarely in school because I was working as a child actress. So I was barely there. I had amazing grades. I was not someone who had to be in school to do well. So I was a straight A student.
Okay.
And I only went really a couple days a week or half a day. And the schools I went to were very supportive of my career.
So learning came easy to you.
Yes.
So school wasn't really your focus. Your focus was, what can I do other than school?
Yes, working.
Entertainment, working, whatever it may be. What did you do as far as acting when you were a child? What kind of roles and gigs did you have?
I worked for the Civic Light Opera downtown in Pittsburgh, and I was in the summer season shows. I was in Christmas Carol for, I believe, 8 years, possibly 7, and I had classes there, the academy, and did a bunch of shows for them. I worked for the Theater Factory as well in Trafford.
Okay.
Used to be a professional theater. It still, I think, is a great theater. I just have been in Florida, so I haven't kept up with it.
Right.
And yeah, so constantly performing, constantly earning my own paychecks and working really hard from 5 years old.
Okay. I was just going to ask, what age did you start working?
Yeah.
So you're
5.
working at age 5. Now, how did your parents view this? Did they support your acting, or did they want you to go to school and focus on your academics? Like, what was that all about?
So my father is an actor himself. So he did not want me to do theater because he is an actor.
Okay. So
And-
did he have like a poor image of acting? Is that why he didn't want you to do it, or
Yeah.
yeah?
It's a hard business.
Okay.
And you don't really make money unless you become ultra famous. And
So it's
that is
risky.
very risky.
Okay.
And he was very unhappy. But I'm not unhappy that I chose it. My mother was over the moon. My mother was an actress. That's how her and my father met. And she went into corporate world. But she was very excited that I was in theater. I actually worked with my father as peers. So I think that for him was a challenge because he's trying to be a dad and make rules for me, but I'm his coworker also. So that was an interesting
That would be,
paradigm.
yeah, that would be complex and hard to separate those two. So acting led you into your teenage years?
Yes, I went to Kappa High School.
Okay.
I had a full scholarship there. And I actually quit Kappa on 9/11. I drove to the school with my dad and I said, I'm not coming back here. And he said, get out of the car, because the principal was his very dear friend who I called my aunt. And he was not happy because they fought for me to have this scholarship and I had this bright career ahead of me. He had gotten on board with the theater. And I said, I just want to have a regular high school experience randomly one day. You know me, just choose things.
Yeah.
And
Stubborn Tori.
so he drove me to Plum High School, and I got out of the car, and I had no idea it was 9/11 because I was in the office waiting to be enrolled, which Plum was very confused and obviously going through a lot. And so I'm just sitting in the office all day, not knowing anything's going on.
Wow.
Yeah,
So did you graduate high school?
I did.
Okay.
I went to college my senior year because I decided one day not to go back to Plum. I was a mean girl. And
Which of the mean girls were you?
oh, Regina. People think that was written after me, actually. But I was playing a part. I wasn't that person. I was
Okay.
playing a role.
Okay. So I'm going to stop you there because this is interesting. So you were sort of acting through life because you were, basically swimming through being an actress from age 5. So that's all you knew. What was your friendship circle like?
Well, it was diverse. So I was in the popular crowd, but I was friends with everyone because I could relate to everyone. So I thought people's view of me was that I was just a mean person. But I talk to people now who I went to high school with who weren't in the in crowd who report to me that I was very kind and they have a good memory of me. And that means a lot now, looking
Good.
back on it.
So you saying you're a mean girl, was that your own brand that you put on yourself? Because it didn't seem like other people felt that way. Is that how you viewed yourself?
I think I viewed myself that way because when I left Catholic school and went to public school, again, split second decision, my 8th grade year, the rest of my class was graduating the Catholic school. But I, of course, had to be different and go to public school 1 year early and try it out. And I went and I acted like a Catholic school student, which is not public school,
Right.
and an adult. So I would wear all black and I dressed like an adult and I would shake hands with people. Like,
So you were very proper
Yes.
for being in a public school.
yes. So I was raked over the coals my first few weeks, taunted, made fun of. People did not know what to make of me. And very quickly, I knew I had to adjust to survive the school.
So you think that was just because you were different? Yeah.
Yes.
And well, I know being a kid is tough and you are attacked if you're different. So it sounds like you were kind of put in that situation like this girl doesn't belong here. she's weird attack.
Yep.
Right.
And I don't deal with attacks, so adjust and survive and win. That's my focus.
So you didn't really retaliate. You just tried to fit in.
Yes.
Okay.
Big time.
Okay.
So I watched movies. Well, I guess we should go back 1 second and discuss the big topic, which I kind of dropped on you in our pre-interview, which is I'm a sociopath. I never knew what was wrong.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's huge.
just to kind of like explain a little bit more.
Yes.
So before I have a guest on,
Yes.
a couple days before, I'll call
Yep.
and just discuss logistics.
Yes.
Okay. And the first question I had was, "Are you willing to drink bourbon?" You're like, "Hell yeah!" And then, you're like, "Yeah, well, I'm a sociopath," and I almost didn't. I don't even know if I reacted.
You didn't.
I was
It was
just like,
silent.
I was
was
just like, I'm
silent.
just going to leave this go.
Yeah.
And maybe we could talk about it on
I'm
the episode.
completely happy to, because there is no awareness. There's such a negative stigma on that word. And it's not necessarily a negative stigma. If someone's aware of it, they can be one of the best, most complex people that you know. And if they know it and they work on it, they can be one of the most actually caring people, because they have to try harder to be
Okay.
self-actualizing.
So sociopath to me and probably the general public means you're crazy.
Yep.
But that's not really the definition of it.
Right. It used to be interchangeable with psychopath. Now that's been separated in the DMV book, I believe it's called.
Okay.
And now they're different.
So were you diagnosed by a doctor?
Yes.
Therapist?
Yes.
Okay.
At a very young age, but that was not highlighted or discussed. Then as life went on and it got harder and harder for me to relate to people and figure out what was going on inside of me, I went to therapy and extensively did a lot of work. And that's when I was diagnosed as an adult with sociopathy.
So it sounds like for pretty much at least half your life, you've battled trying to find your true identity because you were acting from such a young age. And I'm not an actor, but I can only imagine that it kind of makes you disconnect from who you really are, because you're constantly trying to play a part,
Yes.
right? And trying to fit into the mold of what that part is. And you probably start to feel like you are that character, right?
Yes.
So you're battling that, and then you're a sociopath too. So your identity and your personality was probably all over the place.
Very much. I would watch movies to try to see what someone should do in a particular scenario. So the high school, what ties in with that is I was watching teen movies in the 90s and early 2000s. Who's the most
Which
popular
ones?
girl in the school?
Yeah. Got it. Okay.
The cheerleader. So I joined the cheerleading squad, became the best. It was my focus to be so good at it and overachieve and then play that part.
Were you satisfied with playing these roles? Did that feel like that was really who you are? No. Tell me more about that.
I always felt disconnected. I always felt how I still feel now, but I'm getting better at it, is that I'm in a blender. When I'm speaking to someone, I'm most literally in a blender that's turned on.
And you still deal with that today?
Yes.
Not as much as before, but it's still a struggle.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to get too far ahead, but so you go to college. Did you end up getting a job working for someone? What did you do as far as your career goes?
Yes.
Beyond acting.
So I went to college and I went to school to be a police officer. Shocking, a lot of people don't know that.
Very cool.
And I had an internship in Allegheny County, and I decided that it was not for me at that point. I also had a son whenever I was 18, 19 years old. So that threw me for a loop.
That will take your priorities and shift them really fast.
Yes. So I worked in Disney World as Tinkerbell, which everybody knows. And that was cut short by finding out that I was having my son Luke. So I returned to Pittsburgh because I really wanted him to have a family. I wanted to. So I went from going, I'm never talking to my family again. I'm disappearing and I'm going to be Tinkerbell, and I was going to be a chef. Then I had my son. So I returned home in order to provide him with a good family
Yeah.
nucleus.
Good foundation. Good.
And I hurried up and got married and fit into that mold of how can I be the best mom, give him the best support system. And at that point, I was a waitress. And that's when I went to school to be a police officer.
Wow.
I worked at a garage door company in the office. I was able to take my son with me to work every day. So I was very blessed, very thankful for that.
So your life took a really sudden shift. You were essentially working for yourself for half your life, from age 5 till, 18, doing what you wanted, acting gigs, essentially whatever you wanted to do, deciding what your fate was and what your future was. And then all of a sudden you have a new focus. You have to raise your son. How did you separate being a mother and focusing on your family over the old Tori doing what you wanted? Like, was it a gradual thing? Did you resent? I'm not trying to put you in an uncomfortable situation, but did you ever resent having that old life? Like, did you want that back? Did you feel robbed? Can you kind of explain how you felt about being a mother so abruptly?
Yes. So luckily, my family had always taught me that if I was going to make adult decisions or adult actions, there are adult outcomes. And if I did not want those outcomes, don't do it, to put it PG-13.
Yeah.
So I was fully prepared that if that were to happen, what I would do. So when I found out I was having a child, while I never wanted children, that was never my goal, I was completely accepting. And I was so much at peace that I called my family and made the announcement, and it sounded like this. Hi, Mom. I'm having a baby, and now I'm going bowling with my friends. Bye. And I hung up. And my whole life had never eaten cake or chips or any snacks ever because I was an actress. I was supposed to be a model. I was always very thin. So I had a Twinkie for the first time in my life when I got the test results. So I ate a Twinkie with my friends and we went bowling, and I called everyone. People thought it was a prank, but I would just hang up. I didn't want to hear their response. I knew what I wanted to do, which was be responsible, have my child, whether it was Luke or Lacey, I didn't know at the time, had the names picked, and I was ready to do it myself. I did not have support on the end of the father, not saying any names. And I was fine with that. I was perfectly happy. I was ready to go. So,
because you were very independent your whole life. So being independent as a mother probably came easier than it would to some single mothers. Or, not that you weren't a single mother, but you were sort of acting like you were a single mother. So, okay. So you have Luke. What was motherhood like? You worked at a garage door company. What other jobs did you take on when you had your son?
I was a waitress. So many jobs. I produced senior citizen videos for safety of seniors in senior homes, how to treat them for the staff. So I loved that job. I did that. I worked around the clock on that. Very important mission that I thoroughly enjoyed. I was a paralegal. For a long time, I taught myself to be a paralegal and became very successful in that field and just really strive to be a good role model for him. I had an amazing support system. So I was able to have a work-life balance and a mother and my individual self-balance. My whole pregnancy, all I did was read psychology books because I knew that I was struggling with this disorder or whatever we want to call it.
Sure.
And I never wanted to have my son suffer. So I made it a point to study how to be the best parent. I read so many books and I was ready. If you have a parenting question, you come to me because I had no choice but to read. And so I knew it was important to show your child who you are as an individual and who you are as a parent, that you're not just their parent. They'll respect you more if they see you as your own individual person. My son and I have an amazing relationship based on that.
That's awesome. It sounds like you've taken every role that you've had in life to the extreme.
Yes.
Right? If you're going to do it, you're going to give 100% and be the best you possibly can, from actress to a mother to all of these careers that you sort of undertook. And I mean, that's admirable that you wanted to be the very best version of all of these different roles that you've played in life.
Thank you.
Did you ever feel satisfied? I know you kind of bounced around between all these different careers. Was there ever a point where you felt like you found your calling or the career that you were meant to be in?
No. But I think that's because I want to make the most of life. I want to always be doing something new. And so to this day, I still have new dreams, new goals, and things I'm striving to achieve or be better at. So no, not yet.
Okay, so you're not there yet.
No.
Do you think, I know you're not there yet, but do you think if you were to decide, okay, this is where I belong, do you feel like you think you would be missing out on some other opportunity?
Yes.
Yeah.
My worst fear in life is I call people pod people. And this is not an insult to anyone who is my definition of a pod person, understanding that I have very extreme views. My worst fear is to be mediocre, to be in a little town, the same house, with the same life every day. That's my worst fear.
It's so funny you say that because I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. I can't remember who it was or where it was, but they asked me what my biggest fear is. And my answer was being ordinary. And that's kind of what you just said.
Yes.
I don't want to be ordinary ever. Not that I think people are expecting things of me, but I expect a lot of myself. And it sounds like you expect a lot of yourself too. And I think that's kind of why we're drawn together in a way, because we do have very similar outlooks on life. You don't quit. You're full throttle all the time. And I know you carving out this time, to be here is, a sacrifice. So I do appreciate that because I do know how busy you are. And I feel like I'm the same way. Like I never have time really to do anything. I have to make a lot of time and make a lot of sacrifices to fit in the things I do. And you're the same way. Mm-hmm. So you're still not satisfied because there could be something else out there that you belong in or you should be doing. And maybe one day we'll find out what that is. But in the meantime, you're going to keep hustling, right?
Yes.
What are you in now? So say you're in an Uber.
Okay.
Okay. You exchange pleasantries with the driver and the driver says, "Miss, what do you do?" What is your answer?
I hope it's a long Uber
How
drive.
long of a ride is this?
Yeah, I would say I'm going to need to tip you extra and we'll need to take 3 trips.
Seriously, like what do you answer somebody if they say, "What do you do?"
Well, I start with I'm a CEO. That's the easiest answer.
Okay.
And I own 7, now 9 as of whatever month I picked up and left Pittsburgh and went to Florida. So 8 months ago, it became 9 businesses. So I own a lot of companies, and my biggest one is construction and design. And that is, I've expanded to Florida.
Wow.
And I'm really just through the pandemic, it's been very challenging. I have almost lost my proverbial mind, but I love it. I love what I do. That's
Good.
The biggest one. And then Princess and Superhero has now expanded to Florida as well. I don't know if you know that.
No.
Yeah.
I do now.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Very excited about that too. So that's the 2 big ones. And then coffee is my baby right now that I've been working on for 6 years, but it's only referrals. It's so little and I want to expand it. It's a glitter coffee. It's called unicorn coffee.
Okay.
I don't even know if you know about that.
Tori, there's a lot about you I don't know. That's what I meant. Like,
Yeah.
I know you,
Yeah.
but there's so much about you that I don't know. So, okay.
That's my new baby right now that I really want to. I owned a grip socket, I have to say, company, and it's unicorn. You know the grips on the back of the phones, you stick them on? Yeah, I designed my own unicorn and had an artist do it. She was in Russia and she designed it back in 2018, and that took off. That was huge. But then I was sued because I didn't know you couldn't call it the socket.
Oh.
So I learned very quickly that that is not a regular noun. That is a proper noun. And it is owned and trademarked by the company. Socket. So now it's a grip socket. So that company, I just have thousands of sockets sitting around, but it's merch for the Unicorn Coffee Company.
What else? So that's what? Construction?
Yep.
Princess and Superheroes?
Yep.
Coffee?
Yep. Okay,
Keep going.
producer. So I
Okay.
produce musicals. So I bring in musicals from Broadway and license them. And we perform them in an integrated setting, an immersive experience. Those are really common now, but back in 2010, I was the only immersive production company in Pittsburgh. So we would do shows where you were part of the show because not everyone likes musicals. It's hard to be a spectator. So to involve the audience in that experience and experience and do it in a place where you feel like you're really in the show, which eliminates sets, is really popular and people really enjoy it. So I do that. I write. I just produced an original piece in August, which was called Pittsburgh Singles, the musical. That was the premiere.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was really great. It went really well. And it was a learning experience. And it was interactive with a projector. And people could vote during the show using their cell phones. And the outcome of the show was chosen by the crowd. And the actors had to adjust.
That's very cool.
It was fun, for sure.
I'm sure that had its set of challenges,
It
especially
did.
for the crew.
And I wasn't here. So I did it all from Naples, Florida. And I called the show, all the cues, what was going to happen, and everything from Naples.
You're like making me feel like a lazy piece of shit.
No way. No way.
Like,
No, there's crazy, and then there's
okay.
normal
Oh yeah.
accomplishments.
You have an illness. I
I
forgot.
have an illness
Okay.
that is, for me, enjoyable.
Oh my gosh.
It was really exciting. I own a window company in Florida, 50% of one. So I'm doing that. And then I'm partnering with a construction company there where I am designing, solely designing, not project managing. And so that's really exciting. So interior design. I designed a home in Madeira Beach on the water for a real estate agent. So now there's an offshoot called The Remodeling Queen, where I specialize in design only, not so much breaking walls down and
Got it.
changing the layout. I own a Christmas decorating company. It is called Christmas Consultants. And what we do is go into your home. If you're a busy professional, what do you dread? Decorating for Christmas, going in the attic, getting everything down. And then the worst part, taking it all down and storing it. So my company designs your home for Christmas and creates a literal Hallmark movie, buys everything for you, puts it all up. I do it myself. And I also have a friend, Caitlin, who is involved, very involved as well. And then we take it all down, store it properly for you in a storage unit throughout the year, and then put it back up the next year.
So you mentioned you have some help, Caitlin being
Yes.
your help for at least that. How many employees do you have under you, or do you rely mainly on like contractors or
35.
consultants? Okay.
Yeah.
How do you manage it all? I know that's a really broad question, but like how do you do it?
I don't sleep and I don't move from the desk ever.
But this is your happiness.
Yes.
You love the hustle.
Yes.
That's what you thrive off of.
No complaints here. Very happy and would love more.
Girl, I don't know if you have time for more.
I don't think I do,
No,
but
you
I'm
probably
certainly
make the time.
going to try.
My gosh. What is your, if you had to pick a favorite, what is your favorite ownership or your favorite company or favorite role in these different businesses?
Princess and Superhero Parties
Yeah.
is my heart. That was my first company. That will forever be my heart and soul. And I love it. It brings happiness to people.
So full disclaimer, that's how we have our business relationship.
Yeah.
I was your first superhero
You were.
as Captain America.
You were the
back-
best.
Thank you. I've recently retired, I guess. Pseudo retired,
To my heartbreak and my dismay.
which, I'll still probably help you out if
Thank
if
you.
you really need it. That was, 9 years ago now.
I
can't
think
even-
longer than that.
Wow.
Definitely longer than that.
I do want to talk about my first role as Captain America because I'll never forget it. It was at Kennywood, which is a local theme park in Pittsburgh. It was their Kids Fest, which is in the summer. And it was like a 2 or 3 day event, I think, in the heat for hours a day.
With no break.
No break. And you made my first costume,
Did.
which I was deathly afraid to do this because I think I'm an introvert, definitely. Just a natural introvert. I have my moments where I can be an extrovert. I'm on freaking YouTube now, so I have my moments, but I was scared shitless. And I didn't really have much history on Captain America. I hadn't really watched the movies before. And you threw this costume together, plastic shield. I think I brought my own boots. You went to the army surplus and got me a utility belt. And you stuck a silver star on my shirt. And I almost backed out, being totally honest.
I did not know that.
I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. Because I didn't feel legitimate. A, I didn't know anything about Captain America. B, I didn't know if I looked like Captain America. And I almost backed out.
Wow.
Because I knew that, some of your other employees were in the most beautiful gowns and dresses and all this stuff. And I'm like, here I am, with this thrown together last minute thing. But I really quickly realized once I actually got there and saw the kids getting as excited as they didn't care what I looked like. It was I acting like Captain America?
Did you believe it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they see. They see the authenticity in, are you really that character? Even the adults. I thought for sure I was going to get torn apart just by the costume and the plastic shield. The adults were more into it than the kids in some cases. So I think that was really important for me, not only being your employee, but as a person, is if you're authentic and true to yourself, that makes you more attractive and people are going to get drawn to that. So that was sort of like a life lesson to me. And I've never shared that with you.
This is the first time I'm hearing this.
But that was like a big deal for me. And, I did it for years for you. And I have Captain America memorabilia like all over the place. My kids were calling me Captain America for so long.
Well, you're his twin.
Well, yeah, when I had hair.
We could have put you in a t-shirt and everyone would have said, there's Captain America.
And so many people came up to me and said, you really look like, do you know that you look like, I'm like, well, yeah.
Now I do.
That's kind of why I'm doing this, but yeah. And I started feeling like I was him. And that kind of goes back to what you were saying. When you were acting for your whole life, you started becoming these different characters and thinking you were those characters. And in fact, you were playing a role in high school, trying to be the typical high school kid, right? So I started thinking I was Captain America. Like, it was, I don't know, it sounds corny probably to hear it, but yeah, that was my identity for a long time. And that was because of you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And leaving that role was tough. Not that I'm completely done, but I do miss the excitement in the kids and the
It's
adults.
like the mob. You can never get out.
Like,
It's true, though.
I know where you live.
I will find you.
And I get that.
Yeah.
And I do feel like I was a huge part of, I don't want to say the success of your business, but there were a lot of people that requested me, I know, and I do think I did a really damn good job at it. And it was a ton of fun.
When you called yourself an employee, it was uncomfortable for me because it did not,
Right.
I would say a partnership because that is what it was,
Right.
truly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a better word to use there for sure. It's a tough job though, especially for the men that are wearing like those heavy costumes with the masks and the helmets and the capes and the gloves in the 90-degree humid Pittsburgh weather. Yep. It is brutal, but it's like almost you go numb. You don't feel it because you're so in the moment, dealing like shaking hands and high-fiving and making kids arm wrestle me and just having a good time. So yeah, those are memories I'm never going to forget. So working for you as Captain America was pretty much all fun and games. And I know that you played certain characters for your own company. And can you sort of explain what it was like to both work for yourself and also manage everybody that was working for you?
Challenging due to what you said earlier, which is all I do is work. So who are my friends? My employees, my partners, my team members. They're my friends. Where else will I have friends? I work with everyone. And if you're my friend, you'll end up working with me or for me, like you found out. That's the mafia. You're in it. So I have to find a way, and I still am navigating how to manage and be a peer and be a coworker and be a friend. And that is one of my hardest challenges in my life right now. Because when someone is your friend, you go above and beyond for them.
Right.
I go above and beyond for them, and they go above and beyond for me. Now, we all get comfortable in that dynamic, and we have to try to then turn it off and on when it's convenient for both parties, and it gets really painful, as you and I experienced. And it's hard. And then how are you not taking something personally as both the business owner and as the coworker and then as the employee? We're wearing all these hats, and it ties into the sociopathy because we're all playing roles.
Am I a sociopath?
No, are you one? That should be the. Am I a sociopath?
That'll be the
That's
thumbnail.
what this episode is called.
She made me a sociopath.
It's the mafia. You're
so
in now.
funny.
You're a sociopath. No, so we have to navigate that, and how do we wear those different hats? When is it appropriate? And I'm really struggling. So recently, I have been taking a step back from the friendship role. I've kept my friends, and then I've taken new employees or team members and not befriended them because it's too hard. The policies and the systems have to be there. If you look at the success quadrant, the best quadrant to be in is systems, where you are not hands-on and the company is running itself. And I'm going from hands-on to systems, especially with going between Florida and having 9 businesses. You asked me, where's the time? Well, the time is achievable through establishing systems.
Got it.
And when everyone's your friend and you're running around doing them favors, and then they're doing you favors, therefore you all expect favors and those lines to be blurred, that time runs thin very quickly.
So I have a tough question for you. Mm-hmm. I know having friends work with you and for you is, you admitted it's very challenging, and it was very challenging for me to separate our friendship and our working relationship. Do you ever feel like because they're your friends, sometimes they take advantage of you?
Absolutely. And I them,
Yeah.
as you experienced.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't get a chance to remember what time this party was. I can't possibly remember 7 or 9 clients' details magnified through all of these different companies. So as someone who works for me, you're frustrated because you're trying to be perfect and I'm no help. So I take advantage and they take advantage, and it is completely mutual. Recently, with me leaving the state, I have experienced extreme advantage taking, which is, as we've learned with our hearts broken, theft, not showing up, not caring, not being honest, and then demanding a paycheck. That's been really challenging.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine. That company is your heart and soul, and I think as an owner of a company like that, you would expect everyone who is working with you and for you to feel the same way. That's not reality, though. Some people just want a paycheck. Your heart was in that, both as the business owner and as an actress within that company. So you just had a vested interest and a love and a passion for it. And yeah, in a perfect world, it would be awesome if everybody that worked with you had that same passion. I know I did. Yeah. It wasn't just a paycheck for me. I truly enjoyed doing it. And I truly enjoyed helping you too. I don't think I ever missed a single event for you.
Never. I missed. You would catch them. I would forget. And you would say, hey, what's going on with this? And that's where I think I'm missing the friends in the business, is that they had my back and they had the business's best interest at heart. And the new just employee people don't know me. And some of them have never met me and they work for me. So they don't care,
Yeah.
nor can they care because they don't know the origin story. They don't know how much this means. So
And that's fine. Yeah.
it's hard to
Yeah.
change my view and not take it personally like I used to with my friends.
It's almost like you have to care less,
Yeah.
which is probably really hard for you to
Yes.
force you caring less to sort of, come down to their level. So yeah, I'm sure that's really difficult for you.
And keep policies in place. Like, hey, can I get a paycheck? Well, did you fill out this form? Did you return the costume? Did you do XYZ? And let me touch base with that customer. It's very cold.
Yeah.
I was never built originally to be a business owner, and now I'm really good at it, but I need to learn to take the emotionality out of it and really just
Treat it
Devil
like a
Wears
business.
Prada it, because if I don't Meryl Streep this, I'm going to be rooted with my hands on and unable to expand to where I want to be, to provide jobs, to grow the systems, and to expand throughout the United States, which I want to do.
What was your most, this is going to be a tough question to answer. What was your most memorable, my gosh, what was your most memorable moment working as one of the characters for your Princess and Super parties?
I would say at the Pittsburgh PPG Zoo and Aquarium, I was Elsa, and there was a child with Tourette's, and her mother taught her that Elsa is her favorite princess because Elsa is different. And the little girl came up to me and I spoke with her about being different and having to hold back, because I'm not very well versed on Tourette's, but I do know from this particular little girl that you do have to try to hold your emotions and your mind back. And that's all I know. And so I told her, I have the same trouble. I have to hold back too. And the mother was crying and she was crying. And that was just magical for me to touch this child and let her know that she's accepted and she is a princess and she is very loved.
Yeah, I could see the authenticity in that answer because, your eyes are kind of welling up a little bit. And that's what made that job so much fun, is those moments. And I have a lot of those moments too that I will never forget. Just the excitement, signing autographs and remembering a kid's name hours after you met them and seeing them in the distance and calling their name out. And they're like, Captain America remembered my name. Oh my God. Like, it was just so cool. And then I actually tell this story a lot, both from events and just, people asking me what it was like doing that. The amount of kids that punched that metal shield thinking that either it was fake or that it wouldn't hurt
Yes.
was comical. The one I'll never forget is it was a Kennywood event, and the kid was probably 9 or 10 years old. He looked like he was like, did you ever see Billy Madison? O'Doyle rules.
Yes.
He was O'Doyle. Okay. No offense if he sees this.
We love you.
We love you.
Love you.
So I could see it in his eyes. Like he met me and I can see like the fire smoldering, like he was going to do something violent.
He wanted to beat you up.
And he's rearing back. I'm like, no, 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 no. And then he hit my shield as hard as he could. And he's O'Doyle, he was just like, that didn't hurt. And he kind of like runs off. And a few minutes later, him and his mom come walking back, his hands all bloody. She made him apologize to me.
Oh.
For punching my shield and making an ass of himself.
I'm laughing. I'm sorry.
So
Okay.
she made him apologize to me for making a scene like that and doing something that he shouldn't have done.
Great parenting. Amazing lesson. A child will never punch anything again.
But like, and the number of kids that treat you like you're a toy, like
Yeah.
a life-size toy, and kick you and punch you in the stomach as hard as they can without you even knowing it's coming. That's what the superheroes dealt with.
Yes.
What do the princesses deal with?
Oh, the same, but trying to, pull your hair or step on your dress, but the same. I was just talking about this with someone yesterday, and I cited a story about you where we were at a mall and a child Spider-Man cat, do you remember this? Catapulted off of like the wall or the bench. I don't remember, but I've never, and went airborne and punched you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I've never seen a
I've
little
been
Spider-Man child like that in my
kicked so
life.
many times, kicked in the shins, smacked in the ass. Like,
And that's why the turnover is so high with the superheroes.
you have to be a good sport.
You do.
And you have to keep a smile on your face.
Yes.
Even though it's really annoying sometimes.
How do you reprimand this child and scare them? I mean, it's a bad position to
tough.
be in. That's why our contracts say you can leave. And I was talking about this yesterday in the same conversation, which is what person other than me is going to leave? They don't leave, even though they contractually are allowed if they're struck, kicked, hit, harassed. But you don't because your heart's in it and you're like, we had a superhero that bled almost every party. I mean, he quit, but I think part of it was I'm a lot, and part of it was his heart was in it so much and he couldn't take the constant punching and he had electronics in his mask and he was constantly getting cut on his face and he's in film. So I think for him, maybe that might have been a factor.
Yeah. I mean, it was a tough job. As fun as it was, it was a very demanding job. But
people don't know that. They think
No.
you throw a costume on and you just show up and have
smile.
fun.
No.
That is not, and you're exhausted.
it is
after.
exhausting, yes, because you're playing a role for a long time, and it's you cannot, the good ones, you're never out of character ever. Even walking out of the park or something, you still have to be. You're not like unzipping your top buttons and like taking your you're never off the clock until you're sitting in your car.
Correct. Even then, no.
Yeah,
Even
like,
then.
get off the property
Right.
and then disrobe.
Yes,
Like, because kids are watching you,
they are. Yes.
and you have to be very aware. So,
And
anyways,
you have to hold your body a certain way.
Yeah.
And your face has to be a certain way that looks like that character. Yeah. I mean, I live that way every day. And it's tiring. It's true, though.
you have like a smile permanently.
Yeah, like,
You're like the Joker.
yeah.
Why so serious?
I have to try to put on whatever face I need. But
Yeah.
no, it's true. And,
Yeah.
and you don't get to eat or drink water. And I'm an alien, so I don't eat or drink water, but other people do. And it's a lot for them. We've had
Other people do. Everyone does, Tori.
Except me.
For you.
I don't
The
I'm like,
alien
water? 6
sociopath.
hours? Am I supposed to drink water today? Oh, yeah, I better do that. Oh, water. We've had people pass out, girls, the princesses, because they're in those corsets and they're in the big, heavy, some of those dresses weigh probably 50 pounds they're carrying around. Yeah. And in the heat, like you gentlemen who play these roles and female superheroes, Captain Marvel passed out at Kennywood.
Yep. Because the
In the
costume
leather.
doesn't breathe. Yeah.
You're in leather or pleather.
Yeah,
depending.
whatever it was. Yeah.
Whatever we're buying, and you're passing out.
It's not all fun and games.
No, it's not
So-
for the faint of heart.
No. You sing.
I do.
Can you? Would
Of
you?
course.
Please, for me. You want to take one more?
Yeah.
One more sip before?
Karaoke bars, Barbells and Bourbon karaoke. Oh, that sounds like a great event. Look, new business.
Boom.
Karaoke night.
You can do it. I don't.
Can I host? It has to be. No, you host. I'll host too. We'll host together.
Okay.
Okay.
But you're taking care. You're managing the whole thing.
Yes. Okay.
'Cause that's
I
what
got
you
it.
do.
I'll manage it, and then you just MC it, and sing. You have to sing too.
There will be no repeat performances. No one will buy tickets for the second showing if I'm singing.
You have to lift weights and sing.
Okay.
Okay. What should I sing?
What's your favorite? I know. I mean, I've seen some of your performances. You sing all kinds of different things. What's your favorite thing to sing?
I don't have a favorite.
What's your
sing
favorite genre?
musicals
Okay.
because they're hard.
What's your favorite musical? See where I'm going with this.
Mean Girls. And Waitress. Waitress. I would say Waitress is my favorite because I commiserate with that musical.
Sing me something from Waitress.
Okay. Let's see what part
This is
I want to sing.
unrehearsed.
Okay. Yeah, it is unrehearsed. All right. It's not simple to say, but most days I don't recognize me with these shoes and this apron. That place and its patrons have taken more than I gave them. It's not easy to know I'm not anything like I used to be, although it's true I was never attention sweet center. I still remember that girl.
That was beautiful.
Thank you. I took it easy on your microphone. We'll stay with low notes.
Clipping and peaking.
Yeah, we don't need microphones for Tori, so we'll just keep it low.
That was very nice.
I have a big mouth.
Thanks for doing that.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So my previous guest played guitar on his episode. That was one of his talents.
Okay.
And so you're the second guest who's done something other than talk.
Oh, wow.
during their episode.
Talent
So,
show.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think showing off your talents is a good thing.
Yes.
Because I think there's a lot of people that they probably have a talent that, they're afraid to share, or maybe they don't think they're the best at it, but that's okay.
Yes.
You should always be trying to perfect your skill and your craft. And I'm sure you're always practicing different songs and vocal ranges, and I can't imagine the things that go into being a singer, and voice control and throat health and singing from your chest, and there's a lot, right?
Technicalities, yes,
Yes.
there is. And sometimes people like me don't need a microphone. They learn how to project through an arena. I used to sing at the Three Rivers Stadium all the time, and I did a concert there, actually,
that.
when I was young. Yeah, I was 12, and all these contest winners, I don't know what contest. I did a concert at Three Rivers and then sang the national anthem after. And it is interesting and scary, and it's really hard because the reverb, so when you're on line 5 around the stadium, it's still playing your voice line 1.
Oh.
So I was in the paper because I went up to the microphone and I went like this.
So you couldn't hear the echo.
Because when we had the practice for it, it was bad. And that's it. You get 5 minutes. Now, the concert was fine because it was different. It was for one section of the stadium, not the whole. So we didn't use the national anthem sound system.
Okay.
So I got 5 minutes, and it was a disaster because I was not ready to hear myself echoing back in my ear singing a completely different line. It's not like harmony, it's different.
Yeah.
So I went up and I wasn't playing around. I stuck my fingers in my ear as hard as I could and squinted my eyes as hard as I could, and it was the front page of the paper. Victoria walks up to the plate and shoves her fingers in her ears and closes her eyes, and that was front page.
That is super cool.
Yeah.
But that's like the awareness you had to do that is pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
But I can imagine how hearing yourself back seconds after what you just sang would just completely throw you off.
Yes.
So you were just in your moment, just you, in front of thousands, but that's it.
It worked.
You said you were 12?
Yes, I was 12 at the time.
That was so cool.
And it worked great. It sounded fantastic, and I was very happy. So it worked out.
And you made the front page.
And I made the front page of,
No big deal.
like, I didn't look cute, but it's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
Later in life.
Yeah,
over there.
you just wait for the cuteness, right? Was that your most memorable performance? Or if it wasn't, which one is?
My most memorable performance was Sally Bowles in Cabaret, because I'm a method actress, so I become the role. And she was in World War II. She was a very flippant person. She was a real person, and she did not want to get involved in the politics, which is completely opposite of, as you know, I'm an activist, completely opposite of who I am. So to play that role was a lot for me. I had to study it. I drank raw eggs on stage with Worcestershire sauce and hot sauce in it, and I chugged it every night on stage. And I had to become this character who didn't want to get involved in a world war or take sides, and who didn't care about anything. That was her whole brand, was she doesn't care. She doesn't care. She'll do whatever she wants. And I really enjoyed that, along with the Fosse dancing, which is a difficult technical thing to do. And what was extra cool was I studied under a Broadway actress who was directly very close with Bob Fosse himself. So growing up, she taught me everything she knows. There's actually a film with a character after her in it about Bob Fosse. And so to apply what I had learned my whole life from her, and also my father performed with the late, recently Cheetah Rivera, she wrote me a letter about me performing in that show as that role. And that was
I mean, that's like
a
your
big
dream,
weight
right?
in a good way. Yes. A lot of responsibility to come through.
That's so cool. Now, do you think that was your favorite role because you feel like you could relate to that role as the real Tori? Like, do you feel like that character in Tori were similar personalities?
Complete opposites.
Okay.
I care so much. I overly care about every interaction, every experience, political things. I'm overly involved. As if you Google me, you'll find out. So that being the opposite of that, the not caring, not taking sides, not having an opinion, and trying to be as flippant as possible. She has an abortion in the musical. Totally opposite for me. I'm like, five baby, I'm having a baby.
Yeah.
I had to play that and then show that suffering after the fact, that regret. So I didn't have anything to go off of. It was a really big challenge for me to delve into that role and portray things that I cannot commiserate with.
Interesting. So you were able to completely disconnect from reality to play this role, which
Yes.
was probably a liberating thing
Very.
in ways, right?
Very exciting, very liberating. I love a challenge. I love to overcome obstacles and win. Everybody, there's a video of me when I'm little. I don't know, I've posted on Facebook if you've ever seen it. It's my birthday party. And I said, I win, right? I'm going to win the games at the party, right? But I win, until somebody was like, yes. You win. And I'm still the same now. I win. I won? Am I the best?
You just want to be first.
Just want to be first.
That's it.
You said I'm on the board for the farthest travel. You made my week.
What if I would have said you were second?
I think you did. Now I have to
Well, you're
figure out how to
tied for
fix
first.
it. I'm going to move. I'm going to go back to Florida and then do this again so I can fly here and
Fly
win.
thousands of miles
Yeah,
and
I'm
win.
going to win.
Maybe that could be like the asterisk next to your name, like 45 or Florida distance.
So I'm first,
Yeah, you're
actually.
first.
I beat the
If
Scottsdale
you
guy.
add the mileage together, you win.
Okay, thank you. Yes. That's all I care about.
It's too funny.
No, I think that, yeah, being in theater teaches me to become someone else. And I'm over here in real life becoming who I am. And as I get older and I communicate with people and get feedback, which I've gotten from you, I love that. There's nothing more enlightening, rewarding than to hear. And it sounds self-centered, but it's not, because I don't have a gauge of how I'm coming off to people. I don't have a real measurement. So to hear how I'm coming off, hear how people perceive me, helps me to become my best self. And in everything I've been through, earning the money that I have, I never thought I would see money like that in my life, and I wasn't ready. So private chartering jets, going on yachts, spending money like a Kardashian, I became that. And I lost myself. And I had to come back to Pittsburgh, my hometown. I had to talk to old friends. And I had to really take a step back, and I lost everything through, COVID, inflation, pandemic. And now I'm back to success. I lost it all and now I'm back. And I feel like myself. And this is so much better than being an empty shell of who you really are.
Yeah.
And I'm just happy. People said, "Oh, are you sad you have to come back? Are you sad to be back?" No, I feel like a renewed view. I love seeing my friends. I love seeing my family. And I love feeling, for probably the first time in my life, like myself, ever.
I mean, that's all anyone can want, right?
Yeah.
Is A, to be happy, and B, feel like they're their self. Because you
Yes.
were acting forever. And you were probably, I know we talked about this earlier, but you were struggling to find who you really were.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that feels remarkable to say that you feel like you know who you are now.
Yeah.
So you mentioned we had a discussion Would you mind elaborating on what that discussion was? Because
Absolutely.
it was a very good discussion.
It was groundbreaking, I think. I had reached my breaking point of being in another state, isolating myself from everyone and everything that I knew, and having millions of dollars, not having genuine friendships, not having. There's a lady on Shark Tank who said, money doesn't change you, money changes the people around you. I wasn't ready for that. So it was heartbreaking for me to lose employees who I viewed as very dear friends, lose friends in real life that I thought were my friends, but it wasn't. It was because I was throwing parties. It was because there was an open bar every weekend. It was because there was crazy foam parties and, like I said, yachts and vacation homes. And that didn't feel good to me. So I reached out to you, I believe, or we were texting already, and I finally broke down and I said, because you were the only person that ever really went head to head with me in my life, other than my husband. No one.
Take it as a compliment.
It is a compliment. Yeah. It is, because it's scary. I think the way I come off, I'm kind of intimidating. People don't know the real me, so I come off as like statue girl, I think.
Yeah.
And you were always able to tell me criticism, constructive criticism, difficult to hear criticism that I wasn't ready for at that time. So when we were talking, you were the perfect person. I said, what's going on? Why is everything falling apart?
That's right. You asked me, like, why is my life crumbling?
Yes.
What am I doing wrong?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you were very honest with me, and what you said in summary was that I need to be genuine. I need to stop focusing on a brand, because in business, they teach you with mentors and books and everything. Brand, brand, brand. Don't let anybody behind the curtain keep that, like I said, Devil's Wears Prada thing. But I was doing that all the time. And it's this happy medium and this balance of being a real human being and being a CEO boss.
Yeah.
And you really put it in perspective for me that I was not being true to myself. I was confusing to people. They're not able to digest that. And please correct me if I'm summarizing this wrong.
Yeah.
That's how I took it. Very, very eye-opening for me. So I was able to get centered from the conversation with you. That was a turning point for me, because you were not directly involved as you were before when we would butt heads.
Yeah.
You were not affected. You cared, and you took time out of your day to give me constructive criticism that I could really take. And that's in my head a lot. When I encounter people, I'm trying not to keep a wall up, because in my mind, if I am smiley and I'm genuinely showing people I care about them, they'll hurt me. They'll walk on me. They'll take advantage of me.
Right.
But you know what? That's a reflection of that person. That's not my job to stop that person from acting of a low vibrational energy or poor quality character. It's my job to be genuine.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you were vulnerable enough to kind of come to me and say, that you need help, because that's really hard to do. It's really hard to ask for help, especially someone like you. No offense, but you're a very independent, take control type of person. And I'm sure asking for help is very difficult because it makes you feel weak. And I win, right? And if you're asking for help, you're not necessarily winning, right? You're trying to win, but you're not there yet. So thank you for being vulnerable with me. And I think I saw over the years, this is kind of like where this talk gets serious.
Yes.
I saw over the years that you were losing yourself. The multiple businesses, focusing on your image so much. It's like you were searching for something. To me, you were searching for happiness. You were searching for your identity. And as a friend, and, Maria, we were both, I don't want to say worried about you, but we saw it happening. You start to get concerned, and I think that's why I wasn't afraid to just be honest with you when you came to me that day, because I wanted you to get help because you needed it, right? So I'm glad I was able to do that for you. And I'm glad that you were finally happy and that you feel like you found where you belong and the person that you truly are. I think there's a lot of people that are going to be watching this, Tori, that probably have misconceptions of you. They feel certain ways about you because of the image that you've portrayed for most of your life. And I want these people to understand that you don't mean any harm in some of the things that maybe people feel, or maybe some of the things that you've said or to these people, because you are a good person. And we all deserve a second chance, right? And give Tori a chance. Like, give her a second chance, because, you know, you've been through a very complicated life.
Absolutely. And it's hard to not today touch on that, because what I've learned is when you have traumatic or bad things happen to you, it's hard not to take a victim mentality.
Right.
Where's that line? Because, one day I was out to dinner and someone came up to me. I didn't know this person very well. It didn't matter. Just vomiting on me. I've been abused. I've been this. I've been that. And in my head, I'm like, so have I. But where's the line? You know, we shy away from those conversations because they're not happy or comfortable. But at the same time, not let that define us and overcome it. And that's where I'm at in my life, is not go to dinner parties and talk about, oh, this horrible thing, and then villainize this person and villainize that. No, it doesn't matter. What they did is what they did. You were hurt. But now it's time to overcome that and be positive, not toxically positive. Sure. You know, life's not all rainbows, but be more positive, be genuine, and focus on the people that really care about you. Like you said, second chance. Mm-hmm. I say that all the time in my business because I didn't do my businesses the best way I could have. Mm-hmm. I got really swept up in that Kardashian social life and just let it run itself. Let that person, more money, churn. And I said, I really want a second chance to treat my clients well, treat my friends like you and Maria. You guys were there for me when I had nothing, especially Maria. When I had nothing, I didn't have $5 to my name. A story about her, if I can share, is one time I had this like nervous breakdown. I had a lot of nervous breakdowns because I didn't know what was going on. I needed to go to therapy and see why I was in a blender. Sure. I had this breakdown because of my home, and I hated where I lived. And I thought, I'm never getting out of this life. I'm never going to not struggle. I'm never going to have nice things. And she took everything out of her own home, I'm going to cry, and brought it to mine. Do you know this story?
I don't think I do.
I went crazy, and I sat in the corner, and I was rocking. I couldn't talk. I was nonverbal, and she came over, and she's taken her area rugs out of her home, her curtains out of her home, and then she took any money she had left, and she said, let's go to the thrift store, and let's get you things that'll make your house feel nice, and I'll design it for you. Maria is actually a big reason that I am interested in design and space, because if you're having, I'm not saying it's a cure, but some people can't function in their space and they hate it and they feel trapped and they don't have $80,000 to change it. And just a couple little things, an area rug, a curtain, moving your furniture. She moved my furniture by herself, of course, Miss Muscles, and made me able to breathe and function when I had $5. I will never forget that. But to not have her around and you around all of these years, along with a best friend of mine for 35 years, to not have those people as part of my life, not have them at my birthday parties, was very hard for me. And now, like second chance, I want to focus on the people who know me pre-money, know me pre-success. And I want those people with me more than anything. And to even be able to articulate that for me is scary and exhausting. Yeah. But I'm doing it. And I want to say that. And it's a blessing that I am thankful for. And to my clients too, to treat them like my princess clients. Instead of them just booking online, money, yay, go do the party. I call every single one the second the booking comes in, as long as it's not overnight. Obviously, if I'm asleep or working and it's 2 a.m., I think they'll be upset if I call. But I call and I say, thank you. Thank you for booking. Yeah. The feeling that I had in 2010 when I opened of $50.
You're appreciating it now.
Yes. Yeah. An attitude of gratitude, which sounds corny, but is very real. And coming from that place, going to my construction clients, seeing them face to face instead of just, yeah, okay, how's it going? Okay, yeah, I don't want to talk to you. Thanks for your money. No, thank you. What can I do for you? How can I be of service? A service attitude.
Goes a long way.
Yes, and I feel, not to sound selfish, but I feel better.
Yeah.
I feel proud. I didn't feel proud for that time period. I felt like it was never good enough.
Yeah. It's funny you shared that story about Maria, because if you're someone who's in our house fairly often, you'll know that the furniture is in a different position every time you walk in the door, or we have a new couch, or we've changed a chair, or we have a new area rug, or seriously, she's always just rearranging things to make it feel like a new home, I guess, every time, which it is super cool. But now that you shared that story, it makes complete sense, because she still does the same thing.
It's exceptional. And for some people, life-saving at that moment.
Good. That's deep. You know what time it is, right? You watch the episodes.
I have no idea.
We're
What
arm
time is
wrestling.
it? Oh, we're doing it. Oh, this will be
Yes.
a great challenge for me.
Step out of your comfort zone.
I'm not winning this one.
How's that going to make you feel?
It's going to be a lesson for me in humility.
You're going to go straight to the gym after
I am
this?
going. I haven't been, and I'm going back.
All right. I'm going to ask you a question
Okay.
while we're doing this.
Okay.
It's going to be a serious question.
All right.
You start whenever you feel like.
Can you see how much smaller my arm is? I just want.
I can edit. I can add some girth
Can
to
you?
your arms
Can you
in,
do that?
in post.
Okay.
Go ahead. Just
Okay.
start.
All right. I'm going to start.
Do you have any regrets in life, Tori?
Yes.
What are they?
Being focused on money and not God and real, genuine relationships. And not being thankful.
Good job.
You're fake letting me win.
Oh, she's got me.
You're a really good friend for that. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, let me move this again.
Okay.
So you did have regrets.
Yes.
That says a lot about you, because I ask similar questions to other guests, and they say they wouldn't change a thing. They don't have any regrets, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm knowing your story, I'm kind of glad. Not to sound, I don't know what that sounds like, but I'm glad that you have regrets. And I sort of expected you to have regrets because of all the things you shared today, and just knowing the struggles you've had of finding your identity. And I'm glad that you're aware of them, because I know that you're not going to let it happen again. Don't let money get the best of you, Tori. We all want it, right? But that's not who you are. You didn't have it for a very long time. And I think that was good for you, because you were humble. Yes, you're always succeeding. You're always winning. You're always first. But you were still true to yourself. And I think the money did kind of ruin who you were. And I saw it happening. And I saw the image that you were, I don't want to say trying to portray, but you were portraying an image. And we knew that it wasn't you. And that's why I think I was glad that you reached out that day. And I wasn't afraid to confront it and tell you the truth, because it just wasn't you. It's like we were seeing this person that we thought we knew that seemed like we were also watching a complete stranger at the same time. And it was scary for both of us. So I'm glad that you're back.
I'm back.
Yeah, but you are. You're back, right? Welcome home.
Thank you.
Yep,
Feels good to be back.
I bet it does. Do you have any questions for me before we close out?
I don't. I just want to say I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm so thankful to be here and just excited to be back in my hometown, back in this house specifically,
Yeah.
and with you guys and with you, and thankful to be a guest here and get an opportunity to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
So thank
Feels
you.
good, doesn't it?
Yes.
I know it's not easy, but I know it feels good. Every guest that I have, when that camera shuts off, they take the biggest breath because they feel relief, because they're opening up about things that either they haven't confronted in a long time, or haven't thought about in a long time, or haven't shared to very many people. And it's also like an opportunity to let the audience get to know them better beyond what they see. Okay. Like the audience sees a beautiful, financially sound, successful person, but there's more to it. There's more to you than that, right? And now they know that. So I hope that people give you a second chance and get to know the real you now.
Me too. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So fun. Thank you, everyone.
Well, it's great to have you, Tori.
Thank you.
Love you, girl.
Love you too.
All right, guys. I will see you on the next episode of Barbells and Bourbon. Peace.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.